Dowell is self-proclaimed an example unto other households for polygyny and marriage counseling. The sum of all those statements he has said over the years will be examined. First, him and Carol have been hiding their wickedness all these years to the point that the recent exposure from the testimony of Brother Abraham has revealed that Mother was just a disguise of Madam Carol. This disqualified her and her history as a supposed-to-be believer and has wanted to be a part of the wicked lifestyle to deceive the women also. She has been an accomplice to Dowell when possible, especially through the Marco Polo app to allow Dowell to deceive women to join his slave camps. Use them as human slaves and bargaining instruments to the mentally broken down guys that are stuck and are not willing to leave that false ministry. Let us not forget a few stories of theirs, shall we? First, Dowell mentioned that him and her used to dance with no clothes on in praise unto Yah. However, that is suspect now considering it, and Carol left Dowell in a room one time alone to endure a demon that was affecting him. Those are suspicious matters. Now we see her through her double life. Next you have Nellie, who Dowell did not help, but took Eric Gonzalez's precious metals, money, and his children as slaves, along with causing Nellie to divorce Eric, then putting a restraining order on him. No restraining order will stop law enforcement from going to Mitchell Plumley about Erica and the Hub by Macon County for kidnapping children, trafficking, and enslaving people at a 501c3 government property. Nellie did not repent of her wickedness, but agreed to do such things with Dowell for his money, his deceptiveness, and the witchcraft he introduced to Nellie in exchange for sacrificing her marriage and selling out her children to be a so-called spouse of Dowell. He has helped her reach new heights of wickedness and hid it all behind a religious front and the demons that give him his speech. What a foolish wife to betray her entire family for a false reward when she could have been making progress with Eric and the children they both had. Third, you have Summer, who also marks the fourth by the same tactic of aggression from Dowell. When he sees another man's woman, especially if they are going to be his, then he moves in to steal her from her husband-to-be. Then he put 2 children into Summer after getting his way. You people who defend that demon-infested male deserve to go to the lake of fire with him and the demons if you do not repent. Then Selena was also supposed to be married off to someone else, but Dowell got rid of her man-to-be, then emotionally abused her because of the many demons that Dowell operates by. Since she did not know what a real man is or how an evil man is to avoid her emotions, and the demonic Stockholm symptoms and chase for him had inspired her to want to go back to him, it is a classic abusive manipulation tactic of evil males that want to have control over a woman to get her to want him. He put a child in her too, and he has spent your money, people, to garner the favor and obedience of Tebow's so-called women. Why would a woman in her right mind, especially if she is born again, want to get with a end times warlock when there are all these ways out that Elohim can provide as a way of escape? Are they even born again, or does he control what they can pray for too? Surely they would have been passed around like a piece of meat to the male slaves that he intentionally keeps celibate to make a high price of virgins, women based on their looks, and to bribe TBO's guys with those so-called women that he has defiled. Even in his own household, Dowell has been infamous for hiding his brutish and demonic treatment toward those so-called women behind that military title and fake title of a pastor. Dowell turned out to be the stranger's voice that Jesus said that his sheep would not follow. All 4 of those ladies in his house show he is disqualified to teach you anything and to get far, very far away from him and his demons. Jesus warned you about religious spirits that use a front to hide TV evils in a person's heart, and yet you ignore the simplicity of the New Testament, especially when it was said, you shall know them by their fruits, their nature, and if it are righteous or wicked nature. I advise those of you men and women there at Straightway and everyone else to separate from Dowell, repent for being sympathetic and trying to help him in any way possible, and pray against him and those who want to follow that false prophet till they are finally judged and they are no longer around to cause trouble for mankind. Also, you do have a right to defend yourself if Dowell, Jermaine F. West, Michael Fullen, and the rest of his criminals go out of their way to try to do you harm. They are not afraid to go to hell like that. Otherwise, they would crash out to be used up by the devil and his demons.